saying. So this is you. This is Darlene 1.0. Don't ask me how I came up with Darlene or where that came from. It's probably somebody I know. This is Darlene or Evan. Two people, right? Darlene slash Evan. I probably knew an Evan at some point in my life. 1.0. And they want to, and they have this version of themselves. This should probably be bigger. Let's make this bigger. So this is 2.0. 2.0 is a big process, right? 2.0 is probably Darlene or Evan, 6 months, 5 years from now. And then there's like them at 5.0, right? And so the interesting thing about these three parts, right, is the expansion, right? And I'll get into that in a little bit of detail. So, what does Darlene and Evan need to go do to get to these places, right? I think the first thing to do is to understand where you're going, right? Where are they going? Where do you want to be? And you don't have to have it completely 100% understood. You can give values. You can give ideas, values, ideas, um, uh, yeah, ideas, concepts, objects, activities, properties. You can start to describe what these look like at very specific milestones. This should be so simple, and you don't have to be too exhaustive, right? I think the clearer you are, the better, but that might be even too distracting, right? What does 2.0? Maybe 2.0 is the version of you a year from now. Where do you want to be? And that is so, it sounds so simple, right? Write down those values and circle them. And that's your big jump. That's your next milestone, right? And you want to be thinking about what characteristics underlie this persona, this new identity. You can also consider these identities. And if you've been following me lately, you know that an identity is is who you are that produces an outcome. So an identity is who you are. It's the stuff you're made of that leads to some kind of outcome, some kind of destiny. Certain identities produce very similar destinies. We can talk about that in the future, but I think you can do those analysis just at a high level, right? If you have an evil identity, you're most likely going to have an evil destiny. If you have a good identity, most likely your outcome will be good. Why? Because a good tree produces good fruit. We've seen these ideas both biblically and in many of our worldviews, right? So to go from 1.0 to 2.0, right? There are things we need to outline and have in our minds so that we can know where we're going. And we don't, and you may be saying, well, I don't know exactly where I want to be. Describe what kind of person you want to be. These are your properties, right? You can't really control what's going on the outside, but you can sure describe who you want to be, right? And if you've seen my previous videos, and I'll reiterate this so that you and I fully understand this, right? When you figure out and you set up the proper properties and values and ideas within you, the proper disciplines, right? Characteristics, then you can start to exert a field, an impact on the world. This is what macro bodies like the sun and Earth and Mars and Mercury and even the moon do, right? It's by virtue of the stuff that they're made of that they can have the impact on the world. And so there is this, there is this there's a lot of things that can be said about this. But I think one thing that's super important to note is as you increase who you are on the inside, as you increase your identity, what happens is you expand on the inside. There is an expansion. One of the goals of identity is expansion, right? It's it's Okay, one of the goals is expansion. You want to expand your horizons. You want to multiply your surface area, right? And I want you to wait for this, okay? Get ready for this because this is an important insight. I'm not saying it's such a big thing, right? It's actually quite simple. Let me just adjust my camera really quickly. It's actually quite simple, and I'm not saying, oh my gosh, this is profound in any way, but sometimes it's the simplest things that can just push us in the right direction. You don't need some huge, complicated book about how to be productive and how to get your life in the right step or how to build that business you want or to make that impact that you desire on the inside of the world. Positive impact, right? So as you increase your identity, maybe you're reading books, right? But don't read forever. You got to take action. You're reading books. You're studying, right? You're um, exercising, right? So you're getting fit. You're taking the necessary actions that you believe will help you to start to check off the properties and values of the person that is your 2.0 version. And there's always something to improve, by the way. Well, you notice that in this model, the surface area of this identity begins to expand. So if these are identity milestones, let's call them that. Let's actually call these things what they are. Identity milestones. I hope this is showing up on the camera. Please take notes, okay? Take notes because this is simple but profound, powerful, right? Not to toot my horn or anything, but this is something that is very helpful. Oh man, I hope I've been talking to my microphone. If not, I'm going to have to redo this whole video, but that's fine. Look, your identity milestones, right? As you begin to check off properties, you start moving closer and closer to the 2.0 version of you. Let's say 5.0 is you 5 years from now, maybe because it's just a lot of more fine tuning to get you to where you need to be. Super important to note this is that the surface area increases, right? That's the goal of your identity expansion. It shouldn't be the goal, but it's a byproduct because we can't really control everybody's different. You can't control how you will respond. You can't control how the world around you will respond. But one thing I know for sure, if you don't do anything, nothing will happen, right? So you intentionally improve yourself and increase the stuff you're made of, the properties, the values, the ideas. You're reading books, you're studying, you're doing the things that you need to do to get to this place. Your identity will begin to expand. See, at this level, there are things you have access to. Excuse me, at this level, there are things you don't have access to that you will have access to at 2.0 by virtue of you have more of a circumference to work with. Metaphorically speaking, figuratively speaking, right? Just follow along. This is so simple, but I love it, right? So your circumference increases, your identity, your consciousness increases, and you now have access to more, right? And you now have the ability to do more. Whereas with what you had before, you had very little circumference. And of course, when you get to 5.0, 5 years from now, you should have grown so much that the things you can do, the access to realms you now have, the people and contacts you have been introduced to, the audience you have will have shifted. I hope this is making sense because, my goodness, this just happened. This just made sense to me this morning. I was part of my Bible service. I was joining our little interactive class from my Bible, my local church, not my Bible, sorry, from my local church, and they were talking about faith, and talking about what you hear and fear, right? And this picture came to my mind specifically for this project I'm working on self-improvement, right? And there are so many philosophies, but I just want to distill this to very simple things. This is simple geometry, okay, and it makes sense to me, right? It works, and this is why you should focus on just improving yourself. And you've heard this in many ways, right? If you would just focus on yourself, the market will respond. Do what you need to do. Is it getting on camera, explaining your ideas? Do it. Do it enough times. Keep learning, keep growing. By version 2, you would have gotten a new surface area, a new vantage point, right? The beautiful thing is because this is still somewhere inside of you. You will still have access to this realm, but now you're in a different realm. We're going to talk about that in the future. But now you can see Darlene and Evan, they now understand that their identity, which is shaping their destiny, can be altered. A lot of people are trying to shape their destiny, uh, but they haven't done anything about their identity. At the best case scenario, their destiny, they will reach that destiny, but their identity cannot sustain. Their identity cannot sustain the kind of destiny they are looking for. Okay? So I hope this is making sense to you. It is making so much sense to me. Right? You want to, in summary, you want to work on describing the milestones you want to accomplish in a decade, right? This will act as the blueprint, the vision for your steps. And of course, these can be updated because by the time you get to 2.0, your vantage points, your realms will begin to expand and you'll see more of different paths you can take. And this will give you more information to shape where 5.0 looks like, right? And we can talk about all of these in detail. Life is about perspective. Life is about being the better version of yourself. Life is about progress. Life is about growth. Life is about being fruitful. The mission has always been be fruitful, multiply, subdue, dominate, and to replenish. Do all of this. And there's more to be said about that. Um, but I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope this has been helpful for you. I know it's been helpful to me, in trying to understand some of the frameworks that can be helpful for my self improvement and hopefully for yours. I I want to first thank you for taking this time. If you've been watching so far and you've gotten to this point, this is like a personal project of mine. It's a passion project of mine. I've been really thinking lately, just more recently about, and more lately, more deeply about self improvement. And um, comment. I want you to give me some ideas using this idea right here. Let's expand on this. There's so many things that I'm thinking about, so many different possibilities, but this is exciting to me. Okay, this is. I've been trying to think about what ways I can produce value, and there are many ways. I have a separate channel for spiritual things. So if you're a Christian and you want to go very deep into the Word of God, we can go there. This is more step away from that and more trying to be as helpful globally as I can be, right? And if you like this idea, like and follow me because I'm going to bring up even more, right? If there's any insights I have, I'm going to bring them out, right? Very simple principles that can help us to get to the next level. And of course, if there's any portion of this, any part of this video that really caught your attention, I want you to comment that. And if you liked that and you want more, or if you want me to dive deeper into a specific part of what I just said, um, as I continue to make different videos, let me know. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, of course, and I'll see you in the next video.